Uh, uh, uh. And then I said, my puppet tablet turn you into then Sagwa and Dog was as real paper puppets, where she was as this is bad in the just like that when she was as this is bad. Then I said, really bad. I said, oh no. And then Sagwa said, Anna, can you turn us back? I said, okay, turn you back into cats. Then I said, oh no, I don't think my spell's working. I said, I think my spell's really broken. Where she was this, what do we do, Anna? Then I said, I don't know how to turn it back. Where she was this, hey, how about we can visit Miranda's house? They said, Miranda's house? Then I said, oh yeah, Miranda, she knows anything. Where I said, come on, Shigwa. And then me and Shigwa rushes to Miranda's house. Then I said, hi, Miranda, and just like that when I said, hi, Miranda, then Miranda said, hi, Anna, hi, Shigwa, then Shigwa said, hi, Miranda, where Miranda says, where's Sagwa and Dagwa? Where I said, they're right here. And then Miranda says, hey, they look just like Sagwa and Dagwa. And just like that when Miranda says, say, they look just like Sagwa and Dagwa. Right? I said, that's because it is Sagwa and Dagwa. Then Sagwa said, you can say that again. And then I said, it is Sagwa and Dagwa. Then Miranda said, yikes, what happened to them? I said, my spell accidentally got mixed up, and I accidentally turned Sagwa and Dagwa into real paper puppets, and I don't know how to turn it back. I said, Miranda, do you know? Then Miranda said, yeah, my mom knows. Let's go. Then Miranda said, hi, Mom. Then Miranda says, well, Anna needs help fixing Sagwa and Dagwa. She said she accidentally turned them into real paper puppets. Or, when I said, I don't know about this Shigwa, and